can display one record at a time. What if I want to display a list of records, okay, on the page? I want to create a Visualforce page to show the list. I don't want to create a page for one single record. In that case, we will need to use standard list controller. So standard list controller is what we are going to use. Let's see how do we use a standard list controller. Let me create one more page. So for the standard list controller, you have to combine two things. One, standard controller needs to be defined. Okay. So define the standard controller and define a list also. So this is called record set variable, where a variable for the set of records from the standard controller. Okay. So this attribute also you have to define in case you want to display a list. So for a list controller, first of all define your standard controller. So this will decide from which object you want to get the data. Record set var is a variable for the set of records, okay, which need to be displayed. So set of record is a list of all the records, all the accounts. So for this record set var, you can give it any name of your choice. A1. It's a variable, so you can give it any name, call it anything. Okay, because it's a list of records, it's not a single record. So I cannot just use the tags that I was using previously. To display a list, I need to have a table, right? Multiple records can be displayed only using tables, right? So we will create a table here. There's a tag called apex page block table. So for that table, you have to put two things: value, what data you want to display in that table. So what data I want to display? I want to display this list A1, right? So you have to say A1. This is what you want to display here, okay? And you also have to define a variable here, okay? This variable is a shortcut of this value, or what do you call this? Kind of a nickname for this variable, for this value, okay? So just define a variable which is more like an alias for this value. So I'll tell you where that variable that you have defined will be used. So table we have created. If you look into here, we have created a table. We have also defined what data we want to display in the table, and we have defined a variable for this value. Done. Next thing, inside the table, what we need to create, we need to have the columns. So we will need to define the columns. And for column, we need to put the value a dot name. So now this holds name of all the records in this list. Okay. So in the column, all the names will come. See. So we created a table and then we have created the first column. In the column, what do you want to see? I want to see account.name. So if you look at it here, it has created one column in the table. In case I want the second column with the account type, I need to again put fx column tag. Apex column Clear on this? So we have created a table. In that table we have put the value which comes from the record set where. Fine. So things are being defined, one by one. See, first thing we have defined is standard controller that sets the connection of the page with the object. Okay. Second, what we have done, we have defined a record set where, which holds a list of all the records from that object from the standard controller. In the table value, we are using the record set where that we defined. Okay. So this sets up what data is to be displayed, which list you want to display in the table. That is done. Then we define a variable for this value so that that variable can be called in the columns. Okay, instead of defining this big value, I have defined a small variable for it which can be called in the columns. That's it. We have created these 5 columns data. Is that fine? Okay.
I have a doubt. In case if you don't define the variable, then how do you write the coding in the next line? I mean, you will take the entire value is equal to in double colon the entire thing you would call on instead of a.
This is a mandatory attribute, a required attribute, and you have to define this.
Okay.
So this is how the syntax is. We always have to give a var here. Okay, fine. Now just
I did the same code, but I'm not able to see the list. The accounts under the list of accounts. It's just showing me empty thing. So
is it throwing any error?
no, it is not. It's just empty.
You have accounts there, just go to accounts. Okay, in the view, click on all accounts, go back. View, you see that new this week? Yeah, change it to all accounts. Now just go to that page, refresh it, save it. Okay.
Thank you.
Sometimes this page refresh thing and all these things work.